When Mara Ellison returned to Briar Hollow Road, the house was waiting. It stood at the end of the cul-de-sac like it had always stood, narrow windows staring, gutters sagging like tired shoulders. The maple tree in the yard scraped its branches across the second-floor siding with a sound like fingernails testing bone. She hadn't been back in 15 years. Not since the night her father disappeared. The real estate agent had used words like opportunity and charm. She hadn't used words like history. Mara appreciated that. The key stuck in the lock. It always had. She had forgotten that. When the door finally creaked open, the air inside felt occupied. Not stale. Not abandoned or held. As though the house had been holding its breath. "Hey," she muttered before she could stop herself. The foyer answered with a soft hit from the ceiling. The first few days were uneventful, which somehow made them worse. Mara painted over the nicotine-stained walls. She tore up carpets. She replaced broken bulbs. She kept music playing constantly, podcasts, playlists, anything to fill the silence. But no matter how loud she turned the speakers, there were moments when she could swear the sound dipped like something in the walls was listening harder. On the fourth night, the power flickered out. The house fell into absolute darkness. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was attentive. Mara stood very still in the living room. Then she heard it. A faint, dry rustling. Not from one direction. From all around her. Like dozens of people shifting just beyond sight. "She's here." The voice was thin, papery. Mara's stomach tightened. "Hello." The rustling stilled. Then, closer now right beside her ear, though no one stood there. Mara, the way it said her name, was intimate. Familiar. She lunged for her phone and turned on the flashlight. The beam cut across peeling paint and empty corners. Nothing, the power snapped back on. The walls were quiet, but in the center of the room, dust had gathered in a strange shape. Footprints not bare, that small, leading toward the hallway. The writing appeared the next morning, not ink, not scratches. The paint itself had risen into letters, delicate and swollen as scar tissue. "We missed you." Mara stood frozen in the kitchen. "No," she whispered. The letters trembled slightly, as though reacting to her breath. A thin crack formed beneath the words. From inside it came a sound. Breathing slowed deep. She staggered back. The wall inhaled. The drywall pulled inward, just barely like a lung. Then exhaled. Warm air brushed her face. That afternoon, she went into the attic. She told herself she was searching for raccoons. For faulty wiring. For a rational explanation. The attic hatch groaned open. Heat and darkness spilled down. She climbed the ladder with a flashlight clenched in her shaking hand. The beam skimmed across insulation, old boxes, a cracked mirror leaning against a rafter. And then it landed on something that didn't belong. A patch of wall between two beams that looked different, softer. The texture wrong. She stepped closer. The surface quivered. Mara reached out with trembling fingers and pressed lightly that it gave. Like flesh. Her flashlight slipped from her grasp. In the sudden darkness, something inside the wall shifted. Then a chorus of whispers erupted around her. "Don't open it. She'll see. She'll remember." Her heart pounded so violently she thought she might black out. The flashlight flickered back on where it lay on the floor. And in that brief stuttering beam, she saw shapes pressing outward from within the walls as faces. Dozens of them. Mouths opening and closing silently. Eyes rolling beneath the thin membrane of plaster. One face pushed farther than the others. The features distorted. But she recognized it. Her father. His lips stretched thin beneath the surface. His teeth moved. Mara, the wall bulged violently. She screamed and scrambled backward, tumbling down the attic ladder. The hatch slammed shut on its own. The whispering didn't stop. It followed her down. The memories came back in pieces. The shouting. The broken glass. her father's shadow filling her bedroom doorway. The way she used to press her ear to the wall and whisper into it, like it was a friend. Make it stop. The house had always answered. Soft murmurs at first. Comforting. Protective. Until the night she'd begged it harder than ever before. Take him away, she'd whispered into the plaster, tears soaking into the paint. The wall had felt warm under her cheek. It had pulsed. The screaming downstairs had cut off mid-sentence. And the next morning, nothing got no blood. No sign of forced entry. Just a deep crack running across the basement foundation. She had convinced herself it was coincidence. She had convinced herself for 15 years. The basement door creaked open before she touched it. Cold air rolled out, thick and metallic. The stairs descended into darkness. The whispering was louder down there. Not random, layered. Overlapping like a crowd at a stadium, each voice trying to rise above the others. So hungry, she belongs here, she called us, Mara descended slowly. The concrete walls were no longer smooth. They rippled faintly, like something swimming beneath the surface. A fist punched outward from inside the foundation. Concrete cracked out another, and another. Hands pressed through thinning stone, fingers flexing desperately. Faces followed, features distorted, stretched wide in silent screams. Her father's face pushed through the wall directly in front of her. His eyes were sunken. His mouth trembled. "It's not what you think," he rasped. The wall tightened around his neck like a collar. His expression twisted in agony. "We tried to help you," the house whispered around her. "We protect what's ours." The basement floor softened beneath her feet. She staggered. The walls began to lean inward. Not collapsing, not closing. "You fed us your pain," the voices crooned. "Now feed us yourself." The ceiling split. Strands of pale, fibrous material descended like veins, brushing her shoulders, her hair. Her father's face strained against the wall. "Run," he choked. The concrete surged forward, swallowing him back into itself. His scream vibrated through the foundation. Mara turned for the stairs. They were gone. In their place was smooth wall. Breathing. The house had sealed her in. The walls advanced inch by inch, bulging, that pulsing. From every surface, faces pressed forward, men, women, children trapped just beneath the skin of the house. Some were old. Some looked recent. All were aware. Their eyes followed her. Their mouths moved in desperate warning. The floor gave way beneath her knees. She sank to her thighs in softening concrete. The house inhaled sharply. "You are home," it sighed. She felt it then, not just around her, but inside her. The same warmth she'd felt as a child. The same protective pulse. It had never stopped listening. It had grown. Every secret she whispered. Every fear. Every plea. It had fed on them. And it had grown strong. The wall behind her split open. Not violently, gently. Like lips parting. Warmth enveloped her back. Her shoulders, her head. The faces within the walls watched as she was drawn inward. Her father's face appeared one last time beside her own. For a moment, their eyes met through the membrane. "I'm sorry," he whispered. The wall closed over them both. The basement fell silent. Months later, the house was listed again. Fresh paint. New floors. A charming starter home. A young couple toured the property one quiet afternoon. "It feels cozy," the woman said, smiling. The man nodded, solid bones. As they stood in the hallway, the walls exhaled softly, barely audible. If they had pressed their ears against the plaster, if they had listened very carefully, they might have heard layered voices beneath the silence, old ones, hungry ones, and one new voice. Trembling in the dark, don't whisper to it.